The college football playoffs are finally here, just a few days away. I'm Scott Spreitzer. He's Dave Cokin. He's Matt Holt. He is Vice President of Business Development, CGT Sportsbooks in Las Vegas. We're going to talk about both games here, and I want to jump, though, first behind the counter with Matt Holt and talk about the line movement, the betting handle, the whole shebang on these two teams. You had the Oklahoma Sooners opening 2.5 when the game was first announced, and you guys first hung a line. Not the case now. Georgia bounced from 1.5 to 2, I should say, the day after Christmas. I can't imagine it gets to 3, but what's the betting handle at CGT on this game?
No, it's starting to come back now, and this is one of those spots where, there were even some places that opened Oklahoma 3 in this game, and it was kind of a mismatch of action right out of the way. Then all of a sudden, the Rodney Anderson legal trouble came up for Oklahoma, and that caused a wave of Georgia action. In the same day that Rodney Anderson got downgraded to questionable, Sonny Michel, the running back from Georgia, got upgraded to probable. So you had this double effect of Michel's 100% going to play, Rodney Anderson may not, the leading rusher for the Oklahoma Sooners, and that caused a wave of Georgia money, and that's why that line flipped to Georgia favored. And it stayed pretty steady Georgia action. Now all of a sudden, Anderson is going to play. Legal troubles behind him. He's going to be in this game. What we're seeing is a line that's pretty steady, that's probably has a better chance of going to pick than it does Georgia -3.
I was still a little surprised that it moved as much as it did, based a lot on Rodney Anderson potentially not playing in the game. I thought Georgia should have been the favorite from the get-go, my own personal power ratings.
That's what I thought.
But surprised that it started to climb as much as it did after it opened 2.5 the other way.
Yeah, I thought the reaction was that, well, wait a minute, and this is just numbers guys stepping in and saying, wait a minute, I don't know how much the Anderson injury had to do with it or the Anderson situation had to do with it. I thought it was numbers crunchers saying that this is the wrong side favored and we're just going to dump in and take Georgia plus the points. And I think the numbers guys are done with this game at this point. They've made their bet on Georgia, and I don't think they're going to buy it back.
No, I agree with you there. And what's interesting, and to your point, is normally if the numbers guys went rough, they buy it early. Because in a game like this, you're allowing big limits right out of the gate. So if the number's wrong, you allow the numbers guys to come in with their limits, basically, right out of the gate. And they didn't. And it wasn't until we saw that double information side of Michel in, Anderson may not be in, that maybe that was the trigger to them that, hey, this is fluctuating near what we think should be a bad number anyway, and now all of a sudden you're giving us a positive and a negative, we're going to jump on it.
Right, and the thing with numbers, guys, is that when they get their number, that's it. They're not waiting anymore at that point. They're going to jump in and take it. And, they're referred to as wise guys in some cases. I mean, that's why you hear that sharp money is on the Cleveland Browns. It's really important to explain this because there's this misconception out there that the sharp guys love the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
They don't. Okay, what it is that they don't play teams. They play numbers, and that's all they've been doing with Cleveland. It doesn't matter what the uniform is. When they get a certain number, they take it. Now, you can agree or disagree with that philosophy, and as far as the Browns are concerned, I obviously don't agree with it. But that's what they're doing, and there's this giant misconception out there that every wise guy on the planet is playing the Browns every week. That's not the case, and it's not the case in this game that every wise guy is on Georgia. But there were a lot of numbers guys who jumped in on Georgia right away.
But it's a mistake to have played Cleveland and just be numbers. I'll tell you that
all
season and last season too. I played them once this season. I liked them in about 8 games. I played them once. I called them my Nancy Reagan play because I just say no when I like the Cleveland Browns because of the number, and it saved me a whole lot of money. So I think if you're 100% numbers or 100%, well, obviously if you're 100% on the team, you're making mistakes. But if you're 100% numbers, I think that's a bad move also.
Yeah, and this is an interesting, Cleveland this year was sort of like the Jacksonville Jaguars for the last 2 years before this, where their peripheral stats are much better than the actual results on the team. And what was wrong with Jacksonville in those 2 years when they weren't covering numbers, Blake Bortles, the massive amount of turnovers, what's wrong with the Cleveland Browns? And they're not covering numbers, Deshaun Kaiser and these unbelievable turnovers game after game after game. But if you take out those turnovers, their peripheral stats say this is where the numbers should be.
Well, back to the playoffs. The other game, of course, Alabama taking on Clemson. Alabama, at last check at CGT, is a full field goal favorite at this point. We saw them open as low as pick'em in some shops, saw some 1.5. So where did you guys open it, and how's the handle been on this particular game?
We opened Alabama too, and started to get some immediate Clemson action and said, oh boy, maybe we were on the wrong side of this one. We're going to come to Clemson being favored. And that initial wave drove it all the way down to pick. And then since then, it has been nothing but Alabama action. Bama, Bama, Bama. And for good reasons why. The #1 scoring defense in all of college football, only allowing 12.5 points. The offense is better than Clemson's this year. There's a lot of reasons to like Alabama. And I think, to your point, the numbers guys have come in on Alabama. A lot of sharp people have come in on Alabama. And normally what we see is, all right, now we're going to hit 3. We're going to get that immediate buyback on Clemson. We haven't seen any sharp buyback on Clemson at 3, which makes me feel like Alabama's probably going to be the sharp side here come kickoff.
Yeah, I think they're going to be. And the revenge factor, the fact they're a little bit healthier than they were at the end of the season. They've gotten some people back on the field. The scary part to me, and I don't think this is going to be a game I'm going to play. I'll obviously be watching it with great interest. It's a tremendous matchup, and it's developed into an annual World Series, if you will, as far as college football is concerned with these two teams. I don't know if I want to give Swinney a field goal. Look, if there's one team that is absolutely zero intimidation versus Alabama, it's Clemson. Clemson thinks they're the better program at this point, and the mental aspect of this game is huge. Alabama scares a lot of teams. They don't scare Clemson at all.
Yeah, I talked to Devin, by the way, one of the guys that works with you over at CGT just a couple of days ago, and he was saying that it's like 75% sharp on Bama, 70% public. And in the other game, he said it was like 70% sharp on Georgia, public kind of 50-50 on that particular game. But I'm guessing it won't, and if it does anywhere across the universe, it'll be gone before you can say 3.5. Any chance at all with that middle possibility that
you never know, because there's going to be so much money bet. So if this game had opened 3, I would say, yeah, it certainly could go to 3.5. But because it actually got down to pick at one point, bookmakers aren't going to want to have a game that there were picks out there and now 3.5's out there. That sets you up for an ugly middle. My guess is you might see 3 minus 20, 3 minus 15, maybe even 3 minus 25. But not too many people are going to be eager to go to 3.5.
Exactly. Manic Mondays at WagerTalk.com. Don't forget about those. Every daily package, just $9 on Mondays. And by the way, if you like these videos at WagerTalk.com, all you got to do is click the thumbs up bottom at the bottom of the page. And also, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. He's Matt. He's Dave. I'm Scott. That's the college football playoffs. A lot of guys at WagerTalk.com either are involved in one of these two games or both, or will be come New Year's Day, so check it out. We've got more to come. Stick around.